Okay, so today I'm starting another project. I ordered this fan off of Amazon. It's by Savoy House, and it's a couple of years old. I think I bought it about 2 or 3 years ago. And this is what it's supposed to look like. It's supposed to be like a dark brown with a little bit of a, paint texture. So this is what it's supposed to look like, and this is what arrived. As you can see, it's mostly black, and there's hardly any accents, and it's done really bad. So I'm trying to get it to something like this. I might go a little bit of a different route, but like a texture brown. I'm not really quite sure where I'm gonna go with that yet, but here's another the close-up of what it's supposed to look like. So as you can tell, not even close. It was the only one they had when I ordered it. I think this is supposed to be it's Savoy House Bristol, and I think the color is supposed to be antique copper. I got this one off of Amazon, but it was shipped directly from Savoy House. This was the only one they had, and they don't sell it anymore, so I kind of had to stick with this one. So this is where I'm starting from. Okay, the other thing is, this is the pole that'll go up into the ceiling. We already have a ceiling fan in the room where this is going, but this is too short because it's a vaulted ceiling, so this part and all this will be attached with this. I ordered this separately and got it to match this particular model. I mean, I matched the model number and everything, but apparently their pictures, even at their website, it looked just like this. It came in 3 different finishes. There was an autumn gold, antique copper, and then one that was like a distressed light color. So I'm not going to have it exactly like this, but I'm trying to get it to be maybe like a distressed looking brown or rust. Okay, so these are the paints that I'm going to be working with. So we've got Rustoleum Universal Metallic Rust, and we've got Rustoleum Camouflage, and this is Earth Brown. And then this one, I'm trying not to go this direction, but I might need to. This is Autumn Brown. It has a little bit of a texture, but I'm possibly going to go that route with a little bit of a texture, because I kind of want it to look kind of rustic, because that's what our furniture, it's kind of a, I don't know if it's Tuscan or not, but I want to get it to match the room. scuffing it up a little bit just so the first coat of the brown will stick to it. And I'm going to attempt to keep some of this showing through just a little, but we'll see. I don't know what it's going to look like. I may end up going a whole different direction. See, it's just black underneath. This, I think this is metal. That's metal. A couple of pieces are metal, but the main cover that goes over the motor, that appears to be like a molded resin of some type. So what I'm going to do is, on one of the other steps, I'm going to scuff up anything that got covered up with the copper color. I'm trying to scuff it up maybe with another, what do you call it, another level of the Scotch-Brite, something softer, and just try to take off a little bit of the brown. Otherwise I'll use like a rub and buff, possibly on the edges. Not too heavy. These are the fan blades. holds the fan blades. There's 5 of these. Still using the Camouflage Earth Brown. Okay, so these have been painted, and this is what it, this is what it did look like. It's kind of hard to tell because I'm looking at it live and this definitely looks more brown. It's kind of hard to tell, but I guess like that. So it's getting there. And I have the large piece. This is the cover for the motor. That's the one I'm going to do last. Okay, so I got one more drying, and then I have this one to do, and that one. And this is going to be the last piece. Let me grab one of the pieces to show a contrast. Okay, it's kind of hard to tell. This has the brown, this has the Rust-Oleum Camouflage. Ooh, Earth Brown. It's kind of hard to tell, but it is definitely a much better color. So I'll just do this one now. And we'll go from there and see what else we're going to do. Okay, I turned off the auto contrast. Wait, turned on the auto contrast. Now it looks a little bit more brown. It's still a little bit browner in real life. Okay, so let this dry till tomorrow, and we'll go from there. Okay, so what I've been doing since I've let these dry for a few hours, I've been going back over and just scuffing up very lightly just to bring out a little bit of the highlights that were on the black. Just trying to bring that out just a little bit. Okay, this is the Scotch-Brite that's working the best. This is the green, and it's the final number 4, or not number 4, there's 4 in it, but it's the final stripping pads. It comes in different weights. Let me grab one of the other ones. Okay, so here are 2 of the others. So you've got, this is final finishing, and this is between coats. So this one's pretty rough. And this one I've been using just as like after I scuff this up, I go over it with a piece of this and just smooth it out a little bit. Okay, so I'm still kind of playing around with techniques using the Rub and Buff. This is European Gold, and this is the Autumn Gold. The Autumn Gold gives more of a coppery color. I think I kind of like that a little bit better. And I'm going to do a little bit of both, but what seems to work the best, I was going to use t-shirt material, but then I know we use these blue shop, like paper towels, and that seems to give a little bit better, you know, like if you just touch up, this is starting to dry a little bit, I just did this one, but it seems to give a better look of like being, you know, oil rubbed bronze. Because what I was thinking of doing originally was to spray everything with this Rust-Oleum metallic rust, and then give a light coat of the brown Rust-Oleum earth brown camouflage, and then scuff off, because that's really the right way to do it. You know, you have a copper or brass color underneath, and then you spray it with brown, and then you scuff off the brown to expose the areas of the, you know, like a coppery look or brass, and that gives you an actual rubbed off look. But what I'm trying to do right now instead, and it seems to look along the lines of what I wanted, is I'm just taking a little dab of, literally just a tiny little dab of the Rub and Buff. It's off, and then I'm just like kind of touching it, and anything that goes on a little too heavy, you can just let it dry. It dries quick, and then just lightly go over it with Scotch-Brite. Now this is going to be covered up. This goes up to the ceiling, so it doesn't matter if I get any along the edge. And I'll just let that dry. And I think the paper towel, probably t-shirt material would work pretty well, but I thought that might go through and just end up saturating the t-shirt and then just getting on my hands, my finger. So just quickly giving it like a, you know, like if something did get scuffed or rubbed over years, you know, it might look more like, you know, when you're doing this really quick as opposed to real slow, like I was using the small sponges. But this Rub and Buff is really nice because if you put a little bit on that you don't really, you know, you don't like it came out too thick or got into an area that you didn't want it to be, you just take a little bit of your, you know, like a Scotch-Brite, I would say white or green, just scuff it up a little and it'll come off if you want it to, like if you go over it several times, or just take off a little. You know, you just want to have a hint of a copper color or a brass color. And if you just want to have a hint. Now this is going to be up on a vaulted ceiling, so I can't do just a real light coat. But that looks a little bit better than just simply painting the brown and scuffing off to expose the gold color that was underneath originally, because remember this was solid black with gold. This seems to be a little bit, I don't know, closer, much closer to what I had pictured. And so like this area right here might be a little bit much, so I'm just going to scuff it up. It's already dry. And when you just take off a little, it'll just lighten, or I can't say lighten, or brighten, I guess, but it'll just tone down that metallic color. And you just go over it as long as you need to where you want it to look the way you want it to look, you know. So that's what I'm going to do. Just touching it just a little it is taking off some of that shine, but I do want to keep as much as possible that will be, see, if this is, picture this up on the, I'm under a fluorescent light right now, but it's going to be up on the ceiling, and this is coming out a lot better, so I don't have to repaint the whole set of pieces. I'm just going to tone it down a little bit, but I think this is going to look like how I wanted it to show up. And I kind of like this, I like the autumn gold because it's a, I can't explain it. I don't want to say, it kind of has a rose color to it, I guess. But it does definitely look better with, there's some a curtain rod in the room where this is going, and it has more of this color versus an actual gold. I mean, they call this autumn gold, so it's a form of a gold. It's not really copper. So that's definitely looking better. So that's what I'm going to continue to do. This one I already did. So this turned out pretty good. Yeah, this looks much better. This is going to go underneath the light on the ceiling fan, and that's going to go there. So I'm going to work on this one next, but I'm just touching up real fast. It actually works better to do this faster, you know, just touch it real quick, and if you get too much on, no big deal. You just let it dry, which is literally like a minute, and then you can go back over it. So I'm just going to be touching this, and I'll go back over it if I need to take some off, just a little. But it actually works out better because then it does give you that, you know, the oil rubbed bronze effect. Trying to get a little mist of this metallic rust. And I'll put some more highlights with the rub and rub. Okay, so I'm just trying to get kind of speckly looking, to get that weathered look. So this is the Rustoleum Universal Aged Metallic in the metallic rust. And then I can go through and add some rub and buff. I'm going to try using a brush this time, just to get a little bit less smooth, because I don't really want it to be smooth. Alright, so I'm going to do the other pieces. Okay, so what I'm doing now, I had just sprayed a mist, like a speckles, pretty much, of this metallic rust, and these look pretty close to done. This is after I added the 2 different shades of the Rub and Buff. And so I'm working on the last pieces are these the fan blade brackets, holders, and this. This goes the bottom of the globe where the lights are. Okay, so all I'm doing is I decided to use one of these sponges. I bought a package of them off Amazon. I'll put a link below. It's a package. It's baits, and it's all different sizes. I think it was about maybe $10, and there's I think there's about 12. I'll double check. I'll make sure I put a link to this exact one. But they work really well. They, I think it's like a 1 inch up to 4 inches. So I'm using the 1 inch. And so I've got 2 left. So this is what this looks like. This is the that metallic rust that I just put splatters on earlier. And then what I'm doing now is just adding a little bit of a finishing touch. I put a little bit of the European gold on, just brush it on a little bit, very light, and then I just buff it down just a little bit, and then I'll add a touch of the autumn gold. So it just gives it a little bit of a variation. They're both gold colors, but one is a little bit more of a copper color. And then I'll do one final misting, very fine, just to take off some of the shine so it looks more like this. It just adds a little bit of a rough texture to it, and I think I'll be done after that. So I've got this is the top. This is going to cover the motor, so I think that one's pretty close to being done. I don't want to have anything like real super bright and shiny. It looks a little bit shiny here because I'm under some fluorescent lights in the garage, but when I took it in the house earlier, it was not super shiny. It's subtle. So once we get it up on the ceiling, I'll show what that looks like. It's a little bit of a process to try to get it the way I want it to look. So it'll be pretty much like that, with just a very light misting of that. I keep saying it's a copper, but it's metallic rust. But it gives a nice texture. You can kind of see it. So I want it to have like a weathered look, and that's really getting that texture. Because this is painted black, like the whole thing was basically black. And this is metal. This right here is like a resin. It's been molded, but all the other pieces are metal. So this had the black, and then I painted it the earth brown of the other Rust-Oleum. That was this one right here, the Camouflage, because it's a nice flat dark brown. Then as I added the metallic rust, it just lightened it up perfectly. It's basically the color that I wanted it to be originally. So anything that you know, like if you put the rub and buff on and it's really too shiny, you can, you know, just light scuffing with a Scotch-Brite. I've been using the green one and then this white one, and it's been working out really well. So I do a little bit of the European gold first, putting it on the blade holders. I just take a little bit, just go across, see, just a small amount, just dab it a little, and then I'm just going across, like a bit like that, and then I'll go back over to try to get these ends, because that's where, like if you had something that was getting scuffed up on the high spot, it's going to come off of these higher ends. So just put that on, and then I'll let that dry while I do the other one, and then I'll come back and give it a little bit of a scuffing. And I go around here too, just kind of over it with the autumn gold as well. I just take it along the edge, just so it's subtle. Like if an edge had been rubbed up against something or weathered. Just take a little bit more. Touch it a little, make sure there's not a whole lot. And I'll go around these edges here. See, it's just slightly touching, barely touching. But again, if you put too much on, you can just scuff it off a little bit. But it needs to, for this look, I want it to be imperfect. It shouldn't be symmetrical or even. It's just going to be weathered, like it was out in the elements, and or it just is aged and it's been moved around a lot. And so I'm doing just the lighter amounts of the European gold. Okay, and then I'll do the other one. Here's the other one. Okay, so I'm all done with these brackets. You can see the little splatters. That's what I added. I had it on there before, but I added a little extra after I did the rub and buff. And again, that's this one right here. Metallic rust. So I think it's where I want it to be. If I don't like it to be as shiny, like not the metallic part of it, but the actual, it's not really a gloss. None of these are an actual gloss. I might just scuff it up a little bit with the Scotch-Brite. But for now, this is, I can see if I can get a good view of that. It looks pretty close to what I wanted it to look like originally. Next time I come back, we will have this, we'll have installed this, okay? Okay, so this is the ceiling fan installed. It's coming out a little bit darker on my phone, but it does look a lot better. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. It does look a lot better than it did when it arrived. It's not black and gold anymore. Nothing wrong with black and gold, it just didn't look good. It wouldn't look good in here because all of our furniture is about the color of those blades. So it turned out pretty close to what I had hoped it would.